Sometimes, the scariest stories aren't from movies. They're from real people who swear these events actually happened to them. So, here are 3 true horror stories that might just keep you awake tonight. It started a few weeks after I moved into a small 2-bedroom house on the outskirts of town. I was living alone for the first time, trying to enjoy the peace and quiet. But from the very first night, something felt off. Every night around 2 a.m., I'd hear faint creaking noises coming from the ceiling. Not loud enough to wake me fully, but enough to make me question if it was just the house settling. Then one night, I was watching TV when I heard a thud, like something dropped upstairs. The thing is, I didn't have an upstairs, just an attic. I turned down the volume and listened. For about 10 seconds, silence. Then, faint footsteps. Slow, dragging ones, moved across the ceiling. I grabbed a flashlight and pulled down the attic ladder. The air smelled stale, like old wood and dust. I climbed up, heart pounding. The beam of light swept across the boxes and old furniture, and then stopped. In the corner, I saw an open bag of chips and a half-empty water bottle. Someone had been living there. I froze when I heard breathing behind me. A low, raspy inhale. I turned, and the light caught a man crouched behind a stack of boxes. His eyes were wide and shining in the dark. I fell backward, scrambled down the ladder, and ran out the front door. When police arrived, they found signs someone had been staying up there for weeks. Old food, blankets, even a notebook with sketches of me sleeping on the couch. They never caught him. And even now, when I try to sleep, I swear I sometimes hear that creaking again, right above my bed. I was home alone one Friday night. My parents were out of town, and I was scrolling through my phone half asleep. At around midnight, my phone buzzed. It was a number I didn't recognize. When I answered, all I heard was breathing. I said hello, no response, just the faint sound of someone exhaling on the other end. I hung up, thinking it was a prank. A few minutes later, it rang again. This time, a whisper. "Don't hang up." The voice was quiet, male, and strangely calm. He said, "I'm outside your house." My stomach dropped. I didn't believe him at first, until I heard a faint tap on my living room window. I froze. The tapping continued, slow and rhythmic. I didn't want to look, but curiosity took over. I peeked through the blinds. A tall figure stood by the porch light wearing a hoodie, his face hidden in the shadows. I turned off the lights and called 911. The dispatcher told me to stay quiet until officers arrived. But the man kept calling, over and over. Each time he said something different. "Your kitchen window's open. You look good in that red hoodie. Don't scream." When the cops finally arrived, they found footprints all around the house and a half-burnt cigarette near my bedroom window. They told me whoever it was had disappeared into the woods behind my house. That night, I blocked the number, but sometimes I still get unknown calls. Always from a different number, always at midnight. When I first moved into my new apartment, I noticed the door next to mine was always locked. The landlord told me it was vacant, but almost every night, I'd hear muffled noises from inside. Footsteps, sometimes crying. One night, around 3 a.m., I woke up to someone knocking on my door. 3 slow knocks. When I looked through the peephole, no one was there. But across the hall, the vacant apartment door was wide open. Inside, I could see darkness and something moving, a faint shadow shifting in the doorway. I called out, "Hello?" But there was no response. Then the door slammed shut with a force that shook the walls. I called the landlord the next morning. He looked pale and said, "That apartment's been empty for 2 years, ever since the last tenant died inside." He wouldn't tell me more, but later that night, I heard it again, faint sobbing and a whisper, "Why did you wake me up?" Now I sleep with the lights on, and every time I pass that door, I swear it feels a little warmer, like someone's standing just behind it. Which story scared you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more true horror stories.